Hello and welcome to Policy Bazaar. I'm Arjun Bhagat. Now, we all know that our health is our most valuable asset, and this is perhaps the reason why most of us have opted for a health insurance policy. But what would you say if I were to ask you whether or not your health insurance plan will be sufficient to meet your future medical requirements? Are you confident that your health insurance policy covers you enough? Did you take higher medical costs and inflation into consideration while buying this policy? Clearly, we wouldn't realize that our health cover is insufficient unless we or someone we know comes face to face with a certain medical crisis. Now, in this episode of Policy Bazaar, we'll discuss ways to upgrade or enhance our existing health insurance cover. Let's welcome Anjala Adhir, Director of Policy Bazaar, to walk us through this important subject. Welcome on the show, Anjala. Now, tell me, should one review one's health cover regularly?
Absolutely, Arjun. We should review our health cover regularly. The reasons being the medical costs are very high. A normal heart surgery would cost you somewhere around 2 to 3 lakhs, a knee replacement again some 4 lakhs. And because of inflation, the costs are spiraling even higher. And with the advancement of technology, better hospitals and facilities coming up, the costs, will increase. And with the advancement of technology, like I mentioned, the success rates are higher, which attributes again to a higher cost. And again, as you grow older, the chances of critical illness or diseases happening are much higher, for which again the cost involved would be higher. Typically, a normal individual takes a sum insured for a family or individual for 5 lakhs. For a normal ailment, I think that would be sufficient. But if it's cancer, God forbid, cancer or any other disease, that would not be sufficient to, cover the expenses.
So how should one actually go about that? Should you, get a new plan altogether? How do you increase the health insurance coverage that one has? Should one go for a top-up plan? So what should the strategy be, say for a family or anyone?
See, basically, first of all, you should definitely have a basic health insurance plan. And once you have a basic health insurance plan, you should go for a top-up or a super top-up plan, which is over and above your normal basic health insurance coverage.
So what about top-up plans? Now, you mentioned that word. I mean, for the sake of our viewers, explain that to us. And then, of course, we'll go into the other word that you said, super top-up. So top-up first.
Arjun, top-up, like when you're driving a car, you have a spare wheel. And what if you are driving and you don't have a spare wheel and the car gets punctured? So you're just stranded. So similarly, a top-up plan is a stepney to your basic health insurance plan, which you would use in case of eventuality or some illness. Your basic health plan sum insured is completely used. Then you could use your top-up plan.
So then you're saying it's an additional cover. So you use your, say you have a you have a limit or coverage of 5 lakhs. So you finish that and then you go into the super top-up. So does it, top-up. So is it cheaper?
Definitely, Arjun, it is cheaper. I'll explain how it works is, if you have a normal base health plan of 5 lakhs, you could take a top-up plan of another 5 lakhs, right? So, but your top-up, which would have a deductible of 5 lakhs, which means that if you have some ailment, you would first use the 5 lakhs and then subsequently, after that is completely finished, you would use the top-up plan. One has to keep in mind that in a top-up plan, there is no combining of expenses. It has to be a single expense which has to be over and above your sum insured of your base plan or your deductible amount.
So what's the difference between a top-up and a super top-up?
Arjun, a super top-up plan is an evolved version of your top-up plan, and it is a better version of a top-up plan. The reason being, it works similarly, but the reason being, in a top-up plan, it does not combine your expenses for the policy year. While in a super top-up plan, it combines the expenses in the policy year. Explaining, if you have a basic sum insured of 5 lakhs and you take up a top-up plan of 10 lakhs. So if you have a bill of 2 bills of 3 lakhs each in a top-up plan, it will not these bills will not be entertained for your health coverage in a top-up plan, because no single bill is equal to 5 lakhs, which is your basic deductible amount. While in a super top-up plan, since your deductible is 5 lakhs, even if you have a bill of 6 lakhs, 5 lakhs will get used from your basic health coverage and 1 lakh will be from your super top-up. So this is the difference between top-up and super top-up, and super top-up is slightly more expensive than a top-up plan, but it is more viable to take up a super top-up compared to a top-up plan.
All right, so you don't have to take a top-up and then a super top-up. So you can straight go for the super top-up. That's what you're saying.
Yes, you can straight go for a super top-up over and above your basic health plan.
Right. So for a basic health plan, at what stage can you decide that, all right, so you don't have a top-up or a super top-up at the beginning, but after 2-3 years you realize. So can you go in for it at any time? How does that work?
Yes, you can go it for any time. In fact, you can take a basic health plan, and to reduce the total premium you are paying, you can take up a super top-up plan at the same time. So you can do it at any point of time, whether you have after you've taken your basic health policy.
Right. And what about deductibles in top-up plans? How do they work? What are the deductibles, so that our audience is more aware of how this is actually structured?
Deductible, your top-up or a super top-up plan has two components: your basic sum insured and your deductible amount. So the deductible amount is the amount which has to be taken care of from your the previous or the basic health policy before the expenses would be reimbursed or from your super top-up plan. Explaining further, if you have a basic health plan of 5 lakhs and you take a super top-up of 10 lakhs. So this means your total sum insured becomes 15 lakhs. And for your super top-up, the deductible amount would be 5 lakhs, which means that first 5 lakhs will be covered by a basic health policy. And then after that, the reimbursements or the payout would be from your super top-up policy.
So someone might say, instead of going for a top-up or a super, I'll get another policy. So we'll have 2 policies. Does that work?
Of course, you can do that, but if you really were to ask, it would be, at least 40–50% cheaper to take a super top-up plan vis-a-vis 2 basic health plans, and it would be wasteful also, because if you are only going to use part of the thing, why pay a higher premium? So super top-up works out more cost-effective.
And correct me if I'm right, the cost of a top-up plan, which works as a rider, doesn't it? Or am I getting confused?
No. So Arjun, you asked a very good question, and typically people tend to get confused between the two. A rider and a top-up or super top-up are different things. A rider works for a particular disease or a particular critical illness for which the rider is, while a top-up or a super top-up plan works for all the ailments.
So that's the financial sum. That's the financial sum you're talking about.
Not just a financial sum. It means all the diseases, while a rider would be for a specific disease, like if it's an accident rider or a critical illness rider, it would be for a specific disease or ailment, while a top-up would be for all ailments, normal hospitalization.
So walk us through some of the top-up plans which are available to consumers.
We have 3 companies which are offering top-up plans. We have Apollo Munich super top-up plan, which again, for a 35-year-old individual, if you were to take a health policy, the premium would be about, for a 10 lakh coverage, the premium would be about, say, 8–9,000, while for a super top-up for a similar sum insured, the premium would be about 3,500–4,000. The other plan would be Religare Enhanced plan is there, plus L&T has also a super top-up plan, which is L&T Medisure Classic.
So you have to go for the top-up of the same company. Suppose you have a company A, which gives you your regular health care. Do you have to go and get a top-up or a super top-up of the same company, or can you go out and get another company's?
You can have a plan, your basic health plan of another company, and your super top-up can be of another company.
Because that's a question that a lot of people end up asking.
It can be 2 different companies. There is nothing, that you have to have it from the same company.
And what about for individuals, for people working in companies where they have a group insurance plan? How do they enhance their covers?
So in fact, when people have group insurance plans, and the corporates are, consciously doing it since the cost of insurance is going up, so they are giving their the corporate coverage is lesser, and they're giving the employees the choice to enhance their coverage by taking up super top-up plans, which is voluntary. So the employee, it will not be an employer contribution, it will be an employee contribution where the employee can take a voluntary super top-up and pay the premium, where again, because it's a group premium, it would range from 6,000 to 10,000. Your pre-existing diseases would be covered. Your parents who do not...
And you would recommend this approach?
Of course, you would recommend, I would recommend this approach. The reason being, you are able to cover your family, you're able to enhance your cover. And in case you switch jobs, since it's a voluntary top-up, you can carry on with that. That does not lapse. You can carry on with that as well.
So Anjula, the consumer has a lot of choices now. A lot of top-up plans there, a lot of super top-up plans there. How should they actually go and say, all right, this is the right plan for me?
Basically, you would need to keep certain things in mind while you're choosing between a top-up and a super top-up plan. First of all, like for the reasons explained earlier, you should go for a super top-up plan rather than a top-up plan, though it's marginally more expensive. Super top-up plan is basically to bridge the gap between your medical expenses, if they are higher, and your base plan. So the higher the deductible, the lower the premium is. So you have to be very careful about the deductible you choose. Secondly, you should be aware of when the pre-existing diseases would be covered, and if certain things like dental or daycare expenses, etc., are not covered, there is no point in paying the expenses twice, whether in a base plan as well as in a super top-up. Also check whether parents are covered, because in some super top-up plans, parents are not covered. Also check if there are any limits to a particular hospitalization, or what are the sublimits when you're choosing for a super top-up plan.
Anjula, now what about the restoration option? That's another option that people have to enhance their medical coverage, isn't there? Does it work?
Yes, yes, Arjun, of course it works. When you're taking a base health plan, a lot of insurance companies offer, a lot of policies offer this option where your sum insured can be restored. And how it works is that if you have a basic sum insured and you have used a part of it, supposing you have a 5 lakh sum insured, 3 lakhs have been used for a particular ailment, it can again be restored, but it cannot be used for the same patient or for the same ailment in case of a family floater plan. In some companies, the restoration benefit works after you exhausted the entire limit of the sum insured. So this is also a good benefit of enhancing your sum insured, but over and above that, you must definitely have a super top-up plan, because that bridges the gap between the basic health plan and the higher medical expenses.
Right. It's now time for your questions. We've got Raman, and he wants us to suggest term plans for rupees 75 lakhs to 1 crore. Anjula?
Yes, Raman, it's a good idea that you should definitely have a term plan, because in case of any eventuality, that would take care of your family's requirements without compromising on their standard of living. So you should definitely opt for an online term plan. It can be Aegon, Religare, iCare, it can be iTerm, it can be Reliance online plan, or you can opt for HDFC Click to Protect, or it could be also ICICI Pru online plan. And the coverage, since you've not specified your age, the premium could be anytime, could be anywhere between 10,000 to 20,000, where you could get a coverage from 75 lakhs to 1 crore, and you should go opt for an online plan which works out more cheaper.
Right, we've got Prashant, and he has a medical insurance cover of 6 lakhs, which he wants to renew in the coming months. He wants us to advise him whether he should renew the insurance with the same company, or should he look at another medical insurance company with more attractive offers and also enhance his medical coverage. Do you think that makes sense for him?
See, again,
after all, portability is, I mean, a lot of people are doing it now.
Yes, since portability is an option available, but you need to exercise the option after, taking the right decision. You should port your policy if you are absolutely healthy, you've not been diagnosed with any ailment, or if you've not made any claims in the last year. Plus, if you're not of very high age, because in such cases, there could be a possibility that the portability is declined. So in that case, continue with your existing policy, and to enhance your medical coverage, you could go for a super top-up plan of another company, or you could take up riders as well. So please be mindful of the 3 reasons which I mentioned earlier before you port your policy. And please remember, portability should happen in time, at least 45 to 60 days in advance before the maturity of your
because there's a risk of
policy.
Losing your health cover altogether, right?
There is a risk of losing your health cover altogether. So please be mindful that it should be at least 45 to 60 days before your policy expires. And in case, all the 3 earlier conditions are met and you would actually want to port, you could consider plans from Cigna, you could consider plans from Religare or Apollo Munich for, looking at a fresh policy at a higher sum insured.
Right, we've got Supriya, and she asks which insurance is the best. Please tell me the details. Of course, it's a very generic question, Anjula, but how would you advise her?
Supriya, it basically depends on for what purpose are you looking for insurance. If you're looking for insurance as a term coverage, that in case of eventuality something happens, then there is money to cover for those, for their family to be taken care of, then you should probably go for an online term plan where the premium is less, and you could go for any of the good companies, Aegon, Religare, HDFC, Pru ICICI, Bajaj Alliance. And if you are looking at, and you could do, insurance for a purpose of coverage for the family, plus it could be for your tax saving. And in case you are looking for it as an investment option, then you could look at some low-cost ULIPs from, again, HDFC, Edelweiss, or, Pru ICICI. You could look at any of these options, or Aegon Religare.
Right. We've got Prashant Singh, who's 32 years old. He's married. His annual income is around 5 lakhs. His wife is 28 and is a homemaker. And he would like to opt for a pure term plan for up to 50 lakhs. What is your recommendation for him? What plan should he go for? And is 50 lakhs adequate?
First of all, we would recommend that you should enhance your sum assured which you are looking at. It should at least be 1 crore, because it will, considering your income, it should at least be 1 crore. You can look at plans from Aegon Religare, HDFC, Click to Protect, or you can also look at monthly option where you get, payment lump sum and some monthly option. You could look at plans from Edelweiss, eLife also. These are the options which you can look at for a term plan.
Right. We've got Anup Singla, and he says he had a heart surgery a few years back. He does not have any life or health insurance policy, and he would like your recommendation, Anjula, for a life and a health insurance policy. Now, can he opt for one after 3 to 4 years? That I'm a little confused about that. But yeah, I mean, overall, we understand what he's asking.
Basically, when you apply for, once you're already having a heart disease, which is a critical illness, it will again depend on the underwriting norms of the insurance company.
Precise.
So you could apply for Max Bupa or Cigna, or another very popular plan is Star Health Cardiac Care, which is specifically for people who've undergone a bypass or a angioplasty, either of them or both of them in the last 4 years. You could opt for this policy, which covers all heart ailments after a period of 90 days, and this is a plan which is suitable for people who have cardiac problems.
Thanks, Anjula. That's all the time that we have. But last week we asked you a question. What is the most common cancer amongst women? Is it A, breast cancer, B, cervix cancer, C, lung cancer? And the correct answer is breast cancer, and the winner is Smita Dubey. Now, this week's question is, what is deductible in health insurance? Is it A, the amount that you pay as your health insurance premium? B, the amount that you pay before your insurer pays the benefits? C, the amount you pay before your health insurance is paid in full. Now, send in your queries at queries@policybazaar.com, and we'll see you next time with another episode of Policy Bazaar. Thank you once again, Anjula, for joining us and answering those questions. Goodbye.